These are a contender for shoe of the year. I absolutely love to play in the 808 Ultra. With that being said, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you my thoughts as a professional player on the Wörthersee 808 Ultra. So let's dive straight into it and start with the most important thing in a basketball shoe, the traction performance. They switched up the outsole technology compared to the predecessor models. Here we have the 808 Ultra and here we have the 808 Ultra Volume 2. These had a mix of GCU and Tough RB. Here we have a full-length GCU outsole. How does it feel? Absolutely amazing. I played with them yesterday in a 1v1 workout I did with some of my former teammates. Now we all play in different teams, but we still work out together because we live in the same city. And I didn't slip out one single time, which is very, very rare for a basketball shoe. So these really grip exceptionally well on an indoor court. The court was relatively clean. I think they will also handle dusty courts quite well, as I didn't notice or almost didn't notice any dust pickup. I'm going to put a close-up of the outsole on screen. I wore them twice now without cleaning the outsole, and this is how clean the outsole still looks, and with some longer sessions each time. So definitely very, very promising that there's no dust stuck to the outsole. The pattern does look like always with GCU, very shallow, very thin groove. So at first I'm always a little bit put off by that because I'm just not sure how they will handle the stress of actually playing basketball, but it's always very, very good, or it has always been very, very good. I remember the first pair where I had tried GCU was the Austrian 12 Encore, and these grip the hell out of the basketball court. They also have a relatively loud squeak. It's not crazy loud like back then with the Austrian 12 Encore, but it is loud. So if you're into that, of course that is great, but squeak has nothing to do with the actual performance of the basketball shoes. Just look at the Curry line, for example, or the Flow setup. For outdoors, I am not entirely sure. GCU technically should be durable enough for outdoors, but as I said, the grooves are so thin and so shallow. If you want, I can definitely give these a try outdoors as well. I'll just wear them for a couple of times on an outdoor court to see how they will hold up. By the way, if you're wondering where you can cop the 808 Ultra, you can find a discount code LucasSimone10, as well as an affiliate link and discount link in the description box down below to the official Wörthersee website. This is the first Wörthersee shoe that features a dual density super boom drop-in midsole, or actually a dual density super boom setup. You can see the different densities here, the green area and then the rest of the shoe, the white area. Could I actually feel that big of a difference between those two areas? Honestly, not really. They feel very, very similar, but there definitely is a difference between the heel and the forefoot area, simply because the shoe also has a light foam ultra carrier here in the heel area, around the heel here. So we actually have two different cushioning setups. That's the first time that we have an extra cushioning setup, like in addition to the drop-in midsole in the 808 line, because in the past models we never had that. So you can definitely feel this area here. It's also softer than what it usually is on the 808 line. So here in the heel it was usually very clunky, and I absolutely love that they implemented this because it makes the heel to toe transition way smoother. So it doesn't feel as clunky anymore. It's a very nice and soft feeling, a rounded outsole area here in the heel as well. So it really makes for a very smooth transition, a very smooth feeling on foot in general. I was so surprised by how they felt because they do feel quite different compared to last year's model, and that's actually very, very good for me because I'm going to get to that a little later in the video because of the fit and also how the materials were on the shoe. But simply for the drop-in midsole, best drop-in midsole setup on the market once again. Extremely bouncy, a lot of impact protection, still not too high off the ground, so great court feel. That's what I noticed yesterday as well. I'm very picky about that with my shoes, especially in the forefoot area. If they're too high off the ground, I really don't like it and I don't play with them. But here it was a perfect feeling. I really, really enjoyed playing in them. And the Super Boom setup is probably the best cushioning setup on the market right now. I love the Wörthersee 12s that have Super Boom. I love the OCD 14s that have Super Boom. Just the fit is a little off for me. And the 808 Ultra is definitely going to be in the rotation the next couple of months for sure, just because the cushioning setup is so nice and actually just how I like it. A lot of cushioning in the heel and not that much in the forefoot. For the support features, that was my biggest concern when I first had them in hand, because they felt very soft and actually didn't feel like they had as much in there. Just by comparing it, let's say, with the 808 Ultra Volume 2, you can also notice a weight difference. These are way, way heavier, and just by looking at them you can see the shoe here, there is way more support in there. Now of course there is the insole in there, but still there is just more texture, more material, a stiffer material. And here now this is without the outsole, but this just at the insole, this just moves around, and especially the upper, this was what was concerning for me, and because I just felt like the shoe wasn't going to have enough support for me and my feet, or wouldn't be able to keep my foot on the footbed. But these shoes actually proved me wrong. No issues whatsoever yesterday. I didn't feel unstable whatsoever at any moment. And when I play one-on-one or when I wear them in a serious workout, that's like the second highest praise a shoe can get from me. If I wear them in games, that's like the top level test. But as soon as I practice with them for real, I can tell if the shoe is good or not. And these were phenomenal yesterday. I can just say it again. The support features are really also very, very good. No issues. We have 3 different components. We actually have a TPU outrigger here, or like a support frame in the forefoot, which is nice, but I didn't feel it as much, but I think it just keeps my foot on the footbed very well. It's a little unusual that it's so far in the front, but again, that is actually good for my feet because my feet are extremely wide in the midfoot area, and usually if we have the TPU frame or outrigger more back here, it just presses into my wide feet. Then of course we have a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate, which we usually have on the 808 line. I think it's a little smaller than we had it on past models. Also, just by comparing how it looks here, you can see it's a tiny little bit smaller compared to the volume 2. I can maybe like put a ruler there and measure it, but I think this one is around like 3 or 4 centimeters, and this one is going to be like right around 3. This one's probably like 4. So a tiny little difference there is there. And then we also have a nice and supportive heel corner, and of course the most prominent detail here of the shoe is this little pointy area in the heel area. Does it hurt? A tiny little bit, but is it dangerous? No, you can just like really go in there. Also, if you like throw it into your own feet, it doesn't hurt at all. It just feels like a normal heel area of the shoe. Just if you put it in some sensitive areas like in your face, okay, maybe it hurts a tiny little bit or it stings a little bit. But I also really like the design, like Stingray inspired. That's so cool. And what I also wanted to say, the lacing system actually also works really well. You have, and that is always the key to a good lacing system in my opinion, it's not really flywire-like cables. I'm going to put a close-up on the screen, don't worry, but it's like cables going down here, and you actually have 3 of them. So that is awesome for support. Always when shoes have that, they are way more supportive, because if you just have the lace loops here, yes, you're going to keep the laces together, or the tongue is going to be in the middle, and then you're going to have it locked from the top. But by having those cables on the side, you really get a grip on your whole foot. So let's say if it's just free, you really get a grip on your whole foot in addition to closing it from the top. So this is what actually makes this shoe so supportive as well, and that's why it works, that the materials are so thin, and that in general it's a very, very lightweight shoe. So that's just great in terms of support features. Great job from Waveweight, very innovative technology, and just a great job overall to put a shoe together like that. Actually, there's also a little TPU frame on the medial side of the shoe. Didn't show you that before. So I have it here as an outrigger more like, and you also have this little, the outsole is going out and it's very wide. Always great, helps with ankle rolls, or helps preventing ankle rolls actually. And now for the last part, the materials. Also great job from Waveweight. They call it Sting Skin. It says here on the front of the upper, and as I said, the shoe in general is inspired by stingrays. So we have these little dots all over the upper, and then we have this here, which is supposed to be the tail of the stingray. Very, very cool concept. We actually have a stingray here on the tongue. I love animals, so for me this is awesome to see that they implement that and they take some things from nature and put it onto a basketball shoe and use the design of it and the technology, or like just the way a stingray looks, and they put it onto the shoe, and just some of the aerodynamic features as well. Just cool in my opinion. Cool to see that they implement that and they use what is already there in nature. And how do they feel? Very, very good. It's an all synthetic upper. You have some plasticky TPU-like, not really, TPU is here on the side, but I said it already, plasticky overlays here if you're a toe dragger. So this will definitely help as well if you play with them outdoors. And the material itself is super soft, super comfortable. Doesn't need to be broken in, very soft right out of the box. The laces are a tiny little bit elastic, which is always nice, I like that. And the tongue itself also has a little bit of that elastic feel, kind of like, not really neoprene, but a little bit of a different material than the upper. Maybe a little velvet feeling as well, if that makes sense. Just a little softer. Do the laces cut in the feet? Not at all. Didn't have any issues there, and I think that's because they have this little elastic feature, or this elastic material that's just way softer on your foot. There is not that much padding in the heel area, but there is enough there so it doesn't hurt. I didn't have any blisters or areas pinching into my feet. The material is very soft, so also just while walking around, I didn't notice what I noticed on the 805 Ultra Volume 2. The material was way stiffer and it would pinch into my feet while walking because the fit also wasn't perfect. Here I didn't have that at all. For the fit, also shout out Waveweight, they improved it a lot. Wide footers can fit into this shoe now. I recommend going true to size. The length is true to size, and the width is actually very, very good for wide footers. Also, the materials are way more forgiving if you have a wide foot, so they will also accommodate to your feet way more than on the past models. And I think it's also just this lace loop right here. It doesn't pinch exactly into the area where my feet are the widest, which was the case on the 808 Ultra. So that is also a big, big plus for me. And I just felt very, very comfortable, very safe, very secure while playing in the shoe. And that is actually the best thing you can ask for from a basketball shoe. In terms of weight, they're actually also surprisingly lightweight. You got to keep in mind this is a size 14, so I have very big feet, so the numbers are going to be a little bit higher than what you see from other reviewers, but it's definitely lighter than the 808 Ultra Volume 2 and also lighter than the regular 808 Ultra, which was already relatively light. So all in all, to summarize, one hell of a basketball shoe. I recently did a tier ranking for weight shoes. I actually know it's going to come out on the weekend. I'm going to upload this video before, and I said these were going to be in the A or S tier because I hadn't finished testing them yet, and they're definitely getting a spot in the S tier. I definitely think they are better than the 808 Ultra and they upgrade, so a deserving S tier spot. Where they come in on my rating scale, going from, if you're not familiar with, 0 to my favorite basketball shoes of all time, the Book 1, the Wave 12 and the Joker 2 GT. They are almost at the top spot. I would give them a 9.5 out of 10. There's really not that many things I would change about this shoe. Fit is still a tiny little bit narrow, that's why they're not at the top spot, but I really enjoy playing with them, and I'm going to see the more they stay in my rotation, maybe the rating is actually going to go up. Maybe after a couple of months I notice some issues, maybe it's going to go down a little bit. I'm definitely also going to make sure to drop a comparison review of these and the 808 Ultra, also of these and the Wave 12, because that was requested by you already in the comments of some other videos. And I'm also going to make sure to make a 808 Ultra after 3, 4, 5 months, depending on how much I wear them, just to see how they hold up over time, how the durability issues are, and maybe I can even try them on an outdoor court. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. As always, I'd really appreciate if you could leave your thoughts in the comments down below, subscribe to my channel, and leave a like on this video. Have a good one, and see you next time.